where are the leaders in the party who are going to stand up to the mob in their own party? I mean, that's leadership. And the independent voters, and they've got to remember, come November, they're going to have to campaign for those independent voters. And independent voters like to see presidential candidates stand up to their own parties, the real partisan wings. You know, Bill Clinton in 1992 ran against what he called the brain-dead Democratic Party. Independent voters like to see that. I know these guys got to win, but the problem is these front runners, neither of them or any of them are strong enough to resist that gravitational pull to the extreme wing of their party.
Santorum said he couldn't hear the boos, would have condemned them if he had. Are you buying that, especially in the wake of what Perry's saying about the boos being unfortunate, and Johnson and Huntsman sort of acknowledging that they did? Plus, has anybody in the party offered any explanation for that rolling applause, for what followed it? I mean, even if the booing hadn't happened, as you're talking about bringing back Don't Ask, Don't Tell, you would have thought it was the solution to every economic problem in the world.
Yeah, Keith, I talked to lots of folks. I didn't talk to anybody, and I was there all day today for the CPAC conference as well. I didn't talk to anybody inside or outside that debate who did not hear that. We can't disprove what he's saying. It's kind of like when Nixon told John Dean, just say you don't remember. They can't ever prove that you didn't. And so I really think he had to have heard it. But here, okay, give him credit for that. He did hear it. He did not hear it. All right, fine. He could have at least still said something favorable, as Marcus said, about this soldier and his service to the nation. Any other soldier on that screen asking anything else would have automatically gotten probably an over-the-top response praising him for his service. But this man is so homophobic, he just could not bring himself to do that.
Yeah, if that had been anybody else, there would have been a unified salute on the part of the candidates, just the way they sang the anthem 2 debates ago. So,
yeah, he could have done that whether he heard those boos or not.
Exactly. Where was that? Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't happen. It didn't happen from any of them last night. All right, but the escalation of this, booing the troops, shouts of support for letting the uninsured die, even hypothetically, and cheering executions. Apart from the fact that that's beginning to sound like sort of the escalation in the French Revolution or other of these, you know, sort of things that get away from people, is there a tipping point at which this starts being the story that Republican candidates in a real switch start getting damaged by their supporters?
Well, the old rule in journalism, 3 examples make a rule, and so we're at that point. I mean, yeah, these things are starting to look more like the Roman Forum. I thought we were going to wheel out Caligula last night for the thumbs up or thumbs down. That's the way these crowds sound. I do think at some point that it starts to seep out into the mainstream. We're so early in the game when a lot of those kinds of voters are not really paying attention. But this is the problem I get back to, is until some of these candidates, particularly the front runners, show a little gumption to get out there, and when their own mob is getting outside, so far out the mainstream, that they stand up and say something about it, independent voters will like that. We're not seeing that yet, and we're not going to probably until somebody emerges as a very clear front runner.